Vignett's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dack's corner and it goes, glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome to the post-match live stream slightly after 5:15. Thanks to the 6 minutes of injury time and all of our heart rates climbing down from the ceiling where they've been. But we're here now. We're here to dissect a good post-match live stream where we've won, where we've rode our luck at times, rode our luck a lot. But hey, a win's a win. And if you're not happy with that, then maybe just go into a dark corner and spend your evening doing other things, because we're going to be happy and we're going to dissect that game in the way that we usually do and unpick a really, really pleasing 1-0 victory away at Middlesbrough today to round off everybody's weekend in the right fashion. As you can see, we are joined by Alex and Luke again. Alex, how are you doing?
I suppose a Rovers win always makes the weekend a lot better, and if you can't enjoy wins that don't come around too often, then what do you support your team for? So yeah, I'm really pleased to be wrong again. I'm sure everyone will insult me in the comments, but yeah, pleased to be wrong and pleased to get the win.
Well, I'm with you today, Alex, in the stocks, aren't I? Because I did publicly invite everyone to insult us earlier on. So you heard me and Alex predict a 1-0 Borough win earlier on, and it went the opposite. So feel free to absolutely give us the abuse that we deserve in those comments. I'm buzzing. Luke, how are you doing? You did predict a Rovers victory, so well done you.
Yeah, I thought we would concede today, but absolute credit to us defensively today. Fantastic performance in the second half, just to grind out that win, particularly after we scored. Sometimes you've got to do it ugly, and we did it ugly. So, yeah, chuff with that. Let's hopefully have quite a happy post-match podcast for a post-match stream for a change. So, yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. And as everyone can see in the bottom left, we've got a debutant on the show today. We've got Ollie Hayworth, who does the 1875 podcast, for those of you that do listen to that. How are you doing, Ollie? Good to have you on a winning post-match stream.
Yeah, calm down after watching after we went 1-0 up. Was always dreading. I always watch these, and I was dreading if the first one I do, it was a loss. But yeah, glad first one's a win, and I think the best piece of football created the goal. So yeah, it's a very good feeling just to get that win and the clean sheet.
Absolutely. We'll go to our sponsor message in a moment, but for Rovers fans who don't know about us and you're new to the show today, we are Rovers Chat on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button as we get to 1,000 subscribers. And on Twitter, we are Rovers_chat on Twitter. Please do interact with us. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you disagree with us. If you want to hurl some abuse at me and Alex for predicting a Rovers loss, feel free to do that as well. We will bring everything up within reason on the show today. I can see the comments are streaming in. I will come to those in a moment. Just a reminder, though, that we are sponsored by 6yardsout.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
Thank you to 6yardsout.com for their sponsorship. So I'm going to dive into the comments straight away before coming to you first, Ollie, as it's your debut. So we have got Ollie James first up here. I love seeing Warnock upset. Can't stand the man. Yeah, that was bang out of order at the end of the game, giving Branthwaite the stick that he did, for those of you that have not seen that. Ellis Dixon, what a second half performance. Neil Warnock won't be happy. El Scotty, get in. Michael Pearson, what a win out of nowhere, but in control after getting in front. Absolutely, Michael. We'll pick that up on the show, definitely. I thought we were very accomplished after that goal. Ollie James, Warnock lost the plot. Go away. Old man shouts at a cloud. John Browning, consider yourself reprimanded, Ryan. Absolutely. My tail is firmly between my legs. I didn't like doing it. That's the last time my head rules my heart. So it's going to have to be heart predictions from now on. Ollie Pot 3000. What a win that is. Take that any day of the week. Get in, Rovers. Eugene, we finally managed the game. A reverse on how many games have gone against us this season. Definitely. We'll pick that up, Eugene. Really accomplished, as I say. Ollie James, disappointed in Nyambi and Kaminsky today. Didn't even have a shot between them. For those of you that think that Ollie James is absolutely barking mad, his pre-match prediction was, in jest, of course, 2-2 Nyambi and Kaminsky to get the goal. So, yeah, that one is funny there. And Paul Smith could so easily have been a Borough win, though. We were ugly, but a clean sheet. Tommy K on great form. Absolutely. You ride your luck in football, and we got big slices of luck today. So what you do with that luck, we've gone on to win the game and see the game out well. So we'll talk about that, absolutely. So Ollie, I'm going to come to you first, mate. First question, was it a fair result? Just sum up your initial thoughts, 20 or so minutes after the final whistle.
Just about, I think. I know we'll go into it in a lot of detail, but I don't think we were that good first half. Really, it was probably very similar to quite a few of our recent performances and I think Mowbry maybe tactically got it a little bit wrong. I think you guys talked about it in the pre-match stream, that by having that, what looked like a very defensive, very physical midfield three, to probably paying too much attention to Middlesbrough's midfield. But then I think he made a big error not having either Gallagher or Brereton in the front three, because we lacked, whilst we sort of theoretically had the physicality to win a battle in the middle of the pitch, we had no ability to hold the ball or make anything stick into their half. And it just ended up being quite a difficult half. And it was quite a relief to get in at 0-0. I think, we did okay for the first few minutes. And I think Johnson going off rattled us a little bit. But and I think Branthwaite was a little bit rattled. But I know we'll go on to that decision. But then actually get ourselves to half time. Yes, they could have had a penalty. Wasn't a red card in my opinion, but they could have had a penalty. But actually, by far the best piece of football. We scored a goal, had two or three very good, Armstrong really should have put the game to bed quite easily, and as could have Douglas. At 0-0, they had a very good chance. Kaminsky makes a very good save. They've got an open goal, but he missed, he hits the post. That's not on us. That's down to his finishing. And then we get a goal from a very good piece of play, and we've bemoaned our defensive mistakes and switching off. But Johnny Howson, watching Rothwell ghost in past him, would have, nightmare defensively for Middlesbrough. And then you've got it, I think, probably a couple of issues with the starting lineup, but the 3 changes seemed a little bit rash just after we'd scored. But then how easily we turned the game into us chasing them and never winning 50-50s and dealing with lots of pressure. I felt we managed, the last 20 minutes of the game really, really well. And, Douglas went from looking like a constant liability to having a really disciplined and mature last 20 minutes and very composed on the ball. And we made really good use of Gallagher and Brereton as real outlets and suddenly started winning those little 50-50s. And Dak was very good. And as the game kind of closed out, as nervous as we always get, sort of felt like we were going to see it through. And in the end, it could have been maybe 2 or 3-0, which probably would have been not a fair reflection of the game. But I think just squeaking it, I think so. And also whether it's fair or not, we've played better than that against teams above us and not won. So I think we were maybe due one. So, take them when they come.
That's right. You absolutely do. Luke, I'm going to come to you in a moment. I'll just dip back into the comments. So we had Sean Hooper about 5 minutes ago. Wow, what a win. Leap year man, huge 3 points, nowhere for 60 minutes, but then showed our ability in attack from then, should have won by more. Ross Gibson, good win today. Hope the injuries aren't too serious. Thought Davenport played well and Dat looked good when he came on. Yeah, we're certainly going to talk about the substitutions, Ross. I thought they were good subs today. Gareth Devlin, great win, lads. Unexpected, but welcome. Need to build on this result today. Definitely. Runs always start somewhere. And as unlikely as the victory might have looked today before the game, you know, go to Middlesbrough, get a 1-0 win, and who knows where your season goes. So we've got to build on it, as you say. And then Ollie James, it's been a long time since we've had some luck, to be fair. So, Luke, I know that you are one of the positive Rovers fans, but I know even you before the game, you know, we were looking at the stats, we were looking at Borough's home form, etc., etc. You know, for you to be predicting a win, you know, it either needed a stellar standout performance of the season from Rovers, or probably what we saw today, a combination of luck and getting that first goal crucially. So, how did you see the game go? Summarise your thoughts.
Yeah, just before I do summarise my thoughts, just a comment there from Leighton B. How did Branthwaite play? We will come on to it, so stick with us. Thank you for subscribing, and hope you enjoyed listening. And
thanks for that, Luke.
The question on was it a fair result? I mean, what is a fair result in the Championship? Like Ollie said, we've played well at times. We spoke about it on the pre-match. Bristol City, Norwich City. Perhaps we were the better sides. We haven't particularly been fortunate in them games. We deserve more from them games. Today, a draw perhaps would have been a fair game, but we come away with a win. Like I said on the pre-match, it was a tough game. We were always going to have to, like you said, Ryan, maybe be ugly in places. It was always going to be a midfield battle. I thought we started really well in the first 10 minutes. We seemed to have quite less. I thought, again, like Ollie said, it did rattle us a little bit. Johnson going off. For me, it was a strange substitution in bringing Buckley on, because I felt like then that changed the dynamic of that midfield. It didn't give us the free physical midfielders, the free hard. We certainly get hard work from Buckley. I'm not disputing his hard work, but hard work without the physicality and the ability to perhaps win balls against three very able and physical Championship midfielders was a strange one. So I think that did lose a bit of momentum for us. But yeah, very ugly first half. At the end of the day, things could have been slightly different. The strike from Bowler at the end of the first half, if it takes a nick, it goes in. It's luck in football sometimes, and we go in at 0-0, having defended on the whole pretty reasonably well. And then we come out in the second half and a little bit of quality thereabouts. Defend well. We've got quality. We know we've got quality. We've done exactly what Middlesbrough have done at home this season. If you don't concede, you don't lose football matches, and it's as simple as that. And I think we're credit where credit's due today.
Definitely. And Alex, before I come to you, I'm just going to dip back into the comments. Again, a few minutes ago, leap year man, we were due a win on Sky for sure. Absolutely, we were. And I think Sky were getting anxious that they had the 0-0 game before us, and then we were 0-0 midway into that second half. They were thinking, oh my days, what have we done here? But absolutely pleased that we got the goal. Paul Smith, the 3 changes made the difference. Brayton held and played on the ball well. Yes, he did. We'll come on to the subs, as I say, Paul. Andy Watson, squad depth, the key words that won us the points, in my opinion. And then Paul Smith in agreement with Andy, squad depth does make a difference. Callum Robinson, it doesn't say should have had a red on the score sheet. Take the point and forget this game, or take the 3 points in that sense. John Browning, very solid throughout the park, changing the game straight after the goal, calls disorientation for Borough. Paul Centauro, thank you for the kind comments. Good analysis as usual, lads. I wish Rovers were working on the pitch like you are on the channel. Thank you. We'll take that as a backhanded compliment. Absolutely. So, Alex, let's be clear. We are very, very happy to be proved wrong with the result. It turned out to be the game that we all thought it was going to be. A very low scoring, stodgy, turgid affair at times, and one that Rovers did struggle to make an impression on, particularly in the first half. So, how are you feeling after that game, and, what's your assessment of it?
Obviously, I'm delighted with the win. I think it's the first win we've had all season against a team above us in the division, so that's a good marker. That's something we've not achieved yet. So again, that's something to tick off. Back-to-back away wins is also a good thing that we've not achieved in a long time either. So both those things are really good. I think Ollie and Luke have covered most of the key points. I think one thing I would say is I thought for the first 10 minutes, I thought we started the game pretty well. Didn't create many chances. I think Armstrong got that one chance from a knockdown from Barry Douglas. But then I think the injury to Bradley Johnson, as people have alluded to before, and the replacement with John Buckley, I thought the midfield battle in the first half, we lost it slightly. And then I think both teams resorted to going very direct. And you ended in a game where, teams could only string 2 or 3 passes together each. And that just wasn't conducive to a great game. I think, obviously, the big elephant in the room is the penalty incident with Jared Branthwaite. If you want my opinion on it, I would say that Tom Clark for Preston last season at Ewood broke Corey Evans' eye socket and didn't get a booking for it. And no one seemed to complain about that. So why it's now suddenly the most shocking thing in the world for a young lad like Branthwaite to do the same, I find really quite bizarre. I don't know how you can claim that a player who wasn't looking at the player, just looking at the ball, should be given a red card if you apply the same standards to all teams. So that's just my opinion on that. And then, as I say, I think going into half-time was pretty concerned. We do have a pretty bad record in first halves over the piece. When you look back over 10 games, I think we've scored 1 goal in the first half. So, 10 games is more than 20% of a season. So that is a concern going forward. But second half, like you say, Borough came out quite well, missed their big chance. But then when we scored, I thought we completely dominated the game from then on. And as a comment earlier said, what impressed me the most was the game management. I think what you really saw today, probably other than Dak's slice clearance, semi-clearance, the minor panic, the heart attack. I thought we managed the game really well. I thought we really managed the game well. I think, I did call out Dak there, so I'll mention him for a couple of the good bits of play that he did. Winning corners, winning throw-ins, high up the pitch, putting Gallagher through for one of the counter-attacks. The subs really made a difference today. Credit to Mowbray for that. And in the end, I thought we saw the game out fairly comfortably. I think the only chance of us conceding was when Sky announced Lenihan as the man of the match, because I thought we were bound to concede there as a bit of a jinx. But yeah, really pleased with the win. Pleased with the performance after we scored and the way we managed the game in the end. And obviously, still a lot to work on going forward. Still a few issues there, but after a win, as I say, they don't come around too often, so you've got to be happy when they do come around.
Absolutely. Alex, there's been a couple of comments seeing if you're going to smile after this result. So you're going to give us a big beaming smile live on our YouTube channel. You're going to do it.
I don't know why I get this persona where I never smile. It's like, I don't know. I think it's just my concentrated face when I'm concentrating on the stream. I just must put on this stern look, but I do promise, I'm not one of those glum people, even though I may see me on these streams. But yeah, very happy with the win. Don't worry about me. Yeah, very happy with the win.
I can assure everyone that Alex is very happy with that win and very happy to be proved wrong, like myself as well. Just going to go into the comments again because they are coming up thick and fast before we move on. So about 5 minutes ago, we had Derek Vernon, a great win, well unexpected against the team above us. Yeah, that was really nice to get the win against that side, Derek. Chris Hayes, not a Tony fan, but he managed that game perfectly. 3 subs after the goal won us that match. Dak's passing and vision was beautiful to watch. Yeah, that pass he put through to Gallagher, I love that pass. It was great. Ollie James, best we have defended this season. Defended as a team today rather than individuals like in previous games. Everyone put in a shift. Travis is starting to look sharp again. Michael Pearson, praise for Gallagher today. Much maligned, but made a real impact in attack and defence. I agree with that, Michael. Won a couple of headers as well and really offered us an option when he came on. James Wilcock, good win. Lenihan's best game this season, and he did get the Sky Sports Man of the Match as well. So, yeah, it was a good leader's performance from Lenihan today and something that I've been wanting from the captain, absolutely. Simon Child, Dak and Travis helped the game management today. Then do we have anyone else? Hunter's Army, you're in today. Let's go is what Hunter's Army's put. Alexander's back with us. Result get in, and then Hunter's Army. We've been done by so many of them performances. Nice to see us win one playing that way. So lots and lots of happy people today. I'm going to switch things up today because just before we came live, I did send a tweet out saying that it was the good, the bad, and the ugly from Rovers today. And just the chronology of this game was quite remarkable. To say it was only 1-0, this game appeared to have quite a lot. So we're going to just start from the beginning of the game, work our way through, and we'll pick everyone's comments up as we go, which does include, obviously, the penalty decision as well. So, Ollie, I'm going to start with you. So when the team news broke and we saw it was that midfield three of Johnson, Travis, and Davenport, God, I had a complete brain freeze then. We were like, ooh, that's not allowing our attacking players to get forward from a central area. But what I saw actually from Rovers was a really quick start. We looked a bit more fluid. We were knocking that ball around well. And Douglas and Nyambe were noticeably getting forward quite a lot, particularly Douglas. I think there was a chance where a ball came across and he just tried knocking it back into the area. Were you pleased with the start that we made to the game before the Johnson injury, I must stress? It's just that period of the game.
Yeah, I think so. And I actually think this is the first time we've beaten this season one of the sides above us. But I think whenever we do play these better teams, particularly away from home, I think we often actually, we look to take the game to them. We start, think of games, away at Watford, away at Brentford. We don't shy away at Bristol. We don't shy away from trying to impose ourselves on the game, probably unlike seasons in the past. And it was really good to see, but I think it was just very short-lived, and I was a bit concerned about the starting lineup, but for those first few minutes, it looked like it was kind of going to work quite well. But it's, the Johnson going off really felt like it changed things, probably more so because it was Buckley who came on, and no disrespect to John Buckley whatsoever, but I think physically he still has a little bit of a way to go. I don't think that's not been a secret, and I think it just changed things a little bit. It gave Middlesbrough the chance to get a bit of a foothold in the game, and I think once we lost, we just seemed to lose that edge. And we really sort of very quickly became very second best and lost all of that kind of early impetus, kind of went away. And it was quite frustrating to watch that we really kind of regressed back into the pattern we've, a lot of fans have been getting quite frustrated with. So, but yeah, it's fast starts is something we have seen before. And, but it's hard to, like you say, it's a game that's so much has taken place across the game that it'd been nice to see how it panned out if Johnson had stayed on the pitch, because he, I think he was going to be a really important player for us for this game. So it was a big blow for him to go off. But yeah, I think it's the fragility maybe. We've come through and won the game, but I think the ease at which the game turned so much was a little bit of a concern. And I said first off that really felt like I was sort of desperately trying to get us through to half time, and so we could just regroup and start again. But yeah.
And Luke, did you notice it as well? I think the period where I thought the game really turned against us in the first half was actually after the Fry injury, which we'll come on to in a moment. But that Johnson injury, if you are someone like Johnny Howson, Sam Morsey or George Saville, and you see Buckley come on, who, let's face it, does look like a boy, they're going to come on and they're going to be thinking, right, let's boss him, because it's not Bradley Johnson, is it? It's John Buckley. So did you, without, it wasn't Buckley playing bad, it was just that dynamic in midfield. Do you think that played a part in just, I don't know, maybe it stopped the fullbacks from getting forward because we were just worried about that balance in the midfield three? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I agree completely. We went from having, marauding fullbacks, like you said, you see in Douglas and Nyambe in the box, in attacking positions in the first 10 minutes and looking really dangerous. And you sat there as a fan watching, thinking, right, here we go, and this is a good start. You go, like I say, from that to the Johnson injury, and to be fair to Buckley, he's a talented footballer, and there is certain games where we will absolutely rely on a John Buckley coming on, and his technical ability is up there with some very decent championship players. He's a very technically able footballer, but like you said, Johnny Howson and Saville and Morrissey, of course, you've got three very physical footballers, and it instantly then becomes a 3-on-2 battle with all due respect to Buckley, and for them then it's almost like easy pickings, really. Like you said, they're going to attack John Buckley, and for us as a team, we clearly noticed that, and our fullbacks went a little bit more defensive, and fragility and frailty, seemed to come to the forefront there. So yeah, nothing on Buckley as such. I just don't think it was a John Buckley game. I think I saw in the comments Tribal would have been a perfect person to maybe come in there and just shore things up a little bit and not let Sam Morrissey get his foothold on the game and get his boot in as he likes to do. So yeah, tough one for Buckley really, and I think it shows in the end when you become the sub. Not nice for any footballer, but nothing on his performance, but he just didn't offer anything like we were hoping.
Just a couple of things. Just on what you said about Tribal then and the comments that we had, I just wonder if it's the fact that Davenport was the one who was the deep lying midfielder, and he was in the press, I think, with Rich Sharp saying that the position he's played is the number 6, where he's got people in front of him. So I wonder if that played on Mowbry's mind, that he didn't want Tribal then getting into that space. So I wonder if that just came into it.
I was even thinking, perhaps, of bringing Brereton on and bringing Rothwell inside. I'd spoke about that, but Mowbray made the decision, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and then just the other thing that made me anxious about Bradley Johnson going off. So Bradley Johnson marked George Saville for their first set piece, and after Johnson went off, it was Barry Douglas marking George Saville. And that was just making me anxious for the rest of the game, because I'm surprised that Middlesbrough didn't actually target George Saville a bit more to try and get a run on Douglas or whatever. Because if they've done their homework on us, they know that heading is not Douglas's forte in a game. So quite surprised they didn't exploit that more. And pleased that obviously nothing came of it. So we've got a couple of other comments before we move on to the next part of the game. FM Works has joined us. Evening, lads. Can I mention playoffs? You can if you want. Whether they're realistic, who knows? Everyone else can be the judge of that one. Gary H, it's all about working hard as a team, sticking together when under pressure and taking chances when they come, and it all came together today. Then Ryan Lambert struggled to see where Buckley does fit into the team, to be honest. Yeah, he's one of those, isn't he? What is he? If you were to ask the question, what's his position? Is he a number 10? Is he a number 8? Is he, a right-sided midfielder? I don't know. But he's clearly, a talented footballer. But yeah, just don't know where he's going to be. And then Luke, Paul Smith agrees with you. Tribal should have come in, but hard on Buckley. It should be horses for courses. So, Alex, the game's huge talking point is the penalty claim. So, first and foremost, do you think it was a penalty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, you go ahead. I spoke over you.
Do I think it was a penalty? Yes. Do I think the Middlesbrough biased Sky commentary got it wrong on the red card? Yes. It wasn't a red card at all. It was, in my opinion, the simple way to describe it was a reckless high boot in the box. Anywhere else on the pitch, you'd expect it to be given as a free kick. And therefore it's a penalty. Having said that, I think the Sky commentators baying for a red card were a bit ridiculous, really. And to me, it was a yellow card for, reckless play, but there was no intention to injure the man. It was an attempt to play the ball, I thought. And I think one thing that we can say about it is that I don't think Rovers can complain about. I don't think Rovers have been too lucky over the piece this season. I think we've had our fair share of bad decisions go against us, and maybe some lucky decisions go for us. I don't think we can complain, but I think overall it was a penalty, and that's probably why I factored in that a draw was possibly the fair result from today's game. I thought Rovers probably edged it from open play, but if you take into account that penalty decision, I would say a draw was probably a fair result. Not to slight us after we scored, because I thought we were excellent when we scored, but it was a penalty for me.
A draw wasn't a fair result. You're forgetting that big Tommy K is going to save that penalty anyway. So
well, yeah, the form he was in today, wouldn't have put it past him. But Rovers just don't tend to save penalties very often. Rovers keeper, should I say? So, but as I say, Kaminsky's a bit of a freak goalie, isn't he?
Interesting on Neil Warnock as well, really, his reaction to that and the red card, of course, because is he not somebody that was quoted in the past of saying of one of his players, it's not a red card because my player didn't endanger life? So
yeah.
So come on. And at the end of the day, there's that double jeopardy rule. If he's going to get a penalty, he's clearly not gone for the man maliciously. And yes, it's horrific. Like, the more you watch it back, it's not nice. You can't give a red card. You've got to agree with Alex on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, because as I mentioned before, I think the key incident that I recall was when Corey Evans had that really bad skull injury that could have really endangered his career. It was that bad. And I think the general consensus was that it was unintentional and it wasn't a red card. I know it was a game against Preston and we were baying for blood, but yeah, it wasn't a red card. And I don't even think the Preston player got booked for that. I don't even think there was a free kick, never mind a booking. But yeah, it was a penalty.
Absolutely. We've got a cracking picture to show of Tony Mowbry's reaction when when Neil Warnock is berating the fourth official and other people there, and Mowbry's little grin in the background, and you can see rolling across the bottom on our banner. You could tell Neil Warnock wanted a penalty because he was shouting it for the next 70 minutes. So good on Tony Mowbry there for rising to that. We had a comment earlier from Leighton, the Everton fan. I hope you're still with us. You were asking about how Jared Branthwaite did, and we've had some comments about Jared Branthwaite. Hunter's Army might be an unpopular opinion, but I think that Branthwaite, bar the lucky penalty red card, was really solid today. And then Paul Smith, Hunter's Army, spot on. Ari Branthwaite, he's a good lad, lots of potential. So, Ollie, I'm going to come on to you. You know, this is the second game, is it, that Branthwaite's played for us now. That, as an 18-year-old, you know, that's got the potential to really knock your confidence. You've got a lot of experienced pros on that pitch, you know, a lot of them in their 30s, I think, for Middlesbrough. And then you've got a manager like Neil Warnock, who you're going to be able to hear because there's no crowds in the stadium. How do you think Branthwaite coped knowing that he's got away with one there? And, you know, how do you think he did today?
Yeah, I think he was good. I think when you look at, he is very young. And I think in terms of competitive football, not in kind of reserve teams, he's had, 9 games for Carlisle in League Two. I think he had 4 token performances at the back end of a dead season for Everton. So I think Ancelotti could have a look at him, and he's had 2 games at a brand new club in a new division for him. And he's been really good in both. I think, it's not his fault. He's 6'5", and Alex is spot on. If it's outside the box, it's definitely a foul and probably a yellow card, despite being completely accidental. So it is a penalty. But I think Stan Collymore on commentary was still talking about a red card in injury time. So I think that said it all. nasty injuries on a football pitch, it affects it affects the players of the team the player's injured for, and he's an important player for them. And I think, Branthwaite being such a young guy, I think he looked visibly a bit shaken, but actually he had a very difficult 70 minutes left ahead of him, and composed himself. And I think him and Lenihan, there aren't too many players you'd shout about up until about the 70th minute for us, but I think Lenihan, Kaminsky and Branthwaite, I think you really would. I've been very impressed with, I think he's got the physical attributes that you'd want from a defender who's going to tackle, win headers and do the simple clearances and the basics you want to see. But I think he's looked very good and composed on the ball as well. And I think I did get a bit nervous early on. I think he had that one loose touch, which led to Davenport having to make quite a last-ditch challenge, which was very much a yellow card. I think luckily Asombalonga put it straight at Kaminsky, tipped it over, but I think that would have been a bit of a nightmare start for him to, make a careless touch and then we get punished for it. But after that, kind of got his head right and played out the game really well, and a clean sheet away at Middlesbrough is nothing to sniff at all. And Warnock's Warnock. We know what he's like, but to kind of berate an 18-year-old at the end of the match like that is, I don't know. There's a few managers that would do it, and he's one of the ones that would. So, but I don't know. He should probably have a look at himself. He'll forget about it by tomorrow. But not nice to see, but not unexpected. But I think Branthwaite can hold his head high, and we needed him to be as good as he's been. So if the Everton fan's still there, he's sort of every bit as good as Shane Duffy was when we took him on loan. And we desperately need him to be as good as he's been. So long may it continue.
Absolutely, and no coincidence that Lenihan's had a good game today. I think Lenihan always needs a good centre-back partner with him. We saw it with Adarabioyo and the clean sheets that we had when Adarabioyo was in the side. We've seen it when Derek Williams has been in the side as well. So hopefully Branthwaite can strike up that really good partnership with Lenihan and bring the best out of him. I was chuckling as you were talking, Ollie, because the comments are just cracking me up. So Kevin... so that you've got your say, because you've got a darts match, and I'm presuming that's a cyber darts match. Maybe you'll let us know what it is. Happy with the win. Defence did great overall. Hopefully this gives us the boost, and glad my 0-0 board draw was wrong. Yeah, so are we, because that would have been 2 0-0 board draws. And Andy, where you going, Kevin? The Ali Pally. And just to nip something in the bud, I don't know if you were saying it in jest, Ollie, but it was Lee Hendry on co-commentary, and not Stan Collymore. So if anyone's going to be berating Stan Collymore because Blackburn won a league title and he didn't, Lee Hendry, so you need to be getting your comments.
I thought it sounded like Collymore.
It was Lee Hendry.
Lee Hendry.
Yeah, that's it.
I stand corrected. Still very biased, though.
Well, he was very biased. He was obviously doing the Sky stuff, and that's been picked up in the comments. So Luke... moving on then further into the game, we rode our luck. Clearly, it should have been a penalty, and if the penalty goes in, we've conceded that dreaded first goal. Second half, I was hoping, like Ollie said, that we would regroup and just come out a different side, and we didn't quite see it, did we? And there's a really big turning point, and I remember thinking it at the time, that could be a turning point. Kaminsky makes a really good save, and then their centre-back Wood, who came on, hits the post from close range. That's another slice of luck that's gone our way there. And you're just kind of thinking at that point, maybe it could be our day today.
Yeah, there's a few. I think it's worth speaking about just at the end of the first half as well. I think it was Bowler had a pretty decent strike. And on another day, given with Blackburn Rovers, that's taking a ricochet off Howson, a bit of a bigger nick, and maybe Saville, whoever's in the box, and we're going in at 1-0 down. So like you said, we come out at 0-0 and you're thinking, yeah, we're going to go for this now. Let's see something a little bit more positive. And we didn't see that. I think it was a huge turning point in the game, that sort of double chance. I think it's a save from maybe Howson there as well. Kaminsky made a fantastic save there. And and then the Wood header, which is hitting the post. And on another day, perhaps like you said, football's fine margins. Our set pieces up to that point weren't great as well. I think that point in the game just allowed us to steady ourselves a little bit, and then Douglas actually went from strength to strength. It's worth mentioning. A lot of people have said how good he was today, Douglas, and he was in attacking positions, fantastic, and further into the game, got his foot on the ball, and managed to make things happen a little bit more. But I think you alluded to it earlier, Ryan. Actually, with his aerial ability, he's not the best, and the ball was in the air for quite a lot. And that did worry me for a little while. He wasn't winning his headers. Of course, he wasn't. It's not what he does, and that did affect him defensively. But credit to Barry Douglas today, because he turned it on. He didn't let it affect him, and actually affected the game in quite a big way later on. And some of his set pieces after which point, after the period where they were pretty poor. There was some really good stuff that came about. There was a little free kick where he sort of found Lenihan and Branthwaite queuing up at the back stick, something clearly off the training ground. And it's something that we've been looking at for quite some time, hoping that we were going to get that, because that's what we expected when we signed Barry Douglas on loan. It was much better, and it certainly all came from that point when we got fortunate really with that double chance.
Yeah, there's a bit of disagreement about Barry Douglas in the comments. So Hunter's Army, Barry Douglas's best performance yet, also in my opinion. Paul Smith, Hunter's Army, I do like Douglas, not totally consistent, but does the right stuff 95% of the time. Andy disagreeing. Douglas is a liability for me. However, his technique and attitude is good. Athletically and defensive decision making, questionable at best. And yeah, that's it on Douglas. I still think we're waiting to see that all action Douglas that we might have seen at Wolves and at Leeds. But yeah, it was certainly a better performance today from Douglas. And you're right, Luke. I remember that set piece actually, because Harvey Elliott had actually positioned himself really well, because he deliberately stood in an offside position, waiting for either, I think it was Lenihan, to get the knockdown. So he would then have had a tap in. So that was unlucky that one didn't come off. And hopefully we get Douglas, who just bangs in a 25, 30-yard free kick at some point. And he gets a goal and a contribution that way. So then, Alex, football is a funny old game. For the large parts of it, Rovers didn't play our best. We were struggling to get in it, and it just had that feeling that maybe Middlesbrough were just going to nick that goal and get the 1-0. But, a real moment of quality from Rovers on the goal. So just a few things I want to bring out. I thought it was a great crossfield pass from Douglas, some really good vision. Nyambe had a hell of a lot to do, actually, from that point, and really held off the challenge. I think it was Bowler over on that side and broke away from him. And then from that point, Harvey Elliott, again, the vision and the weight of pass, the pass into Armstrong. I think it's one of the only times we've passed it centrally into Armstrong and it's stuck. But then Harvey Elliott, obviously, the pass across the goal once he's got in behind and finds Joe Rothwell with a nice finish. So how happy and pleased were you with the goal?
I thought you were about to say that's the only time Armstrong's ever passed it to someone else, and I was about to agree with you on that. And yeah, he did, and we scored, so maybe take a hint, Adam, at the minute. But yeah, no offence intended to Adam, he's been brilliant this season. But yeah, so many good bits of play in that goal. I think the thing that shocked me the most about it really was we were talking pre-match about how solid Middlesbrough were, how well Neil Warnock sets up his sides. And what I think shocked me the most was just the empty space in the box. I mean, it's very rare that you get a free shot at goal like that with no one around you. So I was really quite surprised that Borough switched off in the way they did, but luckily we managed to pounce on it. Players I can pick out, well, Harvey Elliott, what can you say about him? I saw something on Twitter about him being the best 17-year-old in the world. I think that's a bit extreme, but you've got to say that he must be in with a shout. I mean, name somebody else, a 17-year-old who can do what he can do on a football pitch. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And then Ryan Nyambe underlines again that we need to get that contract signed. And I think if there's any priority at the football club at the minute, if the football club has got any sense of what it needs to be doing going forward, then I think a contract for Ryan Nyambe as soon as possible has to be at, right near the top, if not at the very top of the list of priorities, and even up there with a new pitch, I think. So yeah, a lot of good pieces of play in there. But I think the thing I was most impressed with was our the way we asserted ourselves on the game after scoring, even more than the goal itself.
Yeah, definitely. And Alexander Haben has come in with a comment here. Brilliant goal. Yeah, it was a really lovely goal to see. As I say, Alexander in a game that, up to that point wasn't going too well for Rovers. But then Ollie, from the goal, I think, it was surprising on two counts, really. The first is we hadn't really seen it so much from Rovers in the game, this type of performance after the goal. And then secondly, I don't know how many managers have made a triple sub as soon as they've scored. But, were you at that time thinking, oh, this is a bit of a risk, give it 5 minutes, Tony. Let's see what goes on.
Yes and no. I think it just felt probably on about the hour mark. I think we'd settled things. I think Middlesbrough, the first half continued a little bit into the second half, and then Middlesbrough had, they should have taken the lead, but they hit the post. And I think just before the goal, it's remarkable sometimes in the Championship how, these games are always so close that it just started to feel as if it turned a little bit. That I think we just had a couple of little moments of play before the goal where it wasn't just us kind of sat in our half, not winning 50-50s, and we were defending very well, but sort of constantly defending against pressure from Middlesbrough. And then you have such a good move like that we've seen from all the players involved, and then immediately to then take off the goal scorer, take off the assist maker, and you kind of think, oh, I'm not sure. But then I think I said earlier that we've played, we had the game postponed, but we've had Stoke and then Middlesbrough. And if there were two games where you need to ensure you've got sort of physicality in the right areas of the pitch, to start with neither Brereton or Gallagher in both of those games, he's the manager. It's, he's got to make those decisions, and we didn't lose either of those games, but we could have done. And I think so to see at least Brereton or Gallagher come on, but then both come on, I think tactically made a lot of sense. Although it felt a bit odd straight after the goal, it was very obvious where we were losing the battle on the pitch, which was we just can't make the ball stick. We're not giving them enough to worry about. They're having a very easy time of things, winning second balls and 50-50s, and then coming down into our half. And yes, we took the lead, but no, I don't think it so much changed the game, because I think we'd already changed the game by scoring. I think it allowed us to get a really good foothold and see out that last kind of 25 minutes, probably better than I'd even hoped. And actually, the fact that I think Dak was really classy for the time he was on the pitch, and I think people have said in the comments that we actually could have quite easily gone 2-0, certainly 2-0, and 3-0 would have been a bit too much, but we created some really, really good opportunities. And actually, Borough huffed and puffed, but I don't think they really, really threatened our goal afterwards. Some wayward crosses and free kicks that went out for goal kicks. I think in the end, Dak sliced clearance, but otherwise, we actually managed the game really, really well. And then so you have to think, got it right. He doesn't always get it right, but I think he did in those three changes. But the issue was quite obvious, I think, that lack of physicality sort of further up the pitch. And I think Gallagher did some really good work, and you see how much the flow of the game changes when you suddenly have something to play off in their half, and then you can get those knock-ons to Dak and Armstrong, or Nyambe and Douglas, and bringing them up the pitch. And actually, it's all well and good having these players, but if you can't get on the ball in the opposition half, it's a bit futile in the end. And I think that was the frustration through the first half, when after the first 10 minutes. So credit to Mowbray, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're absolutely right. The subs were definitely the right personnel to bring on. Just before the goal, actually, I was just looking at Armstrong and he was getting nothing in the centre of the park. And they flashed a graphic up, I think, about 5 minutes into the second half, which showed the amount of touches that not just Armstrong, but Assombalonga had in the game. And they were very low. So Armstrong needed to either be getting himself into a different area, or we just needed a slight change in approach. And that's what Brereton and Gallagher brought. They brought some steel either side of him. They brought some run in either side of him, and it really helped us see that game out, definitely. So they were cracking subs, and then Bradley Dack obviously came on and had a great performance as well, particularly when the game had got a little bit stretched towards the end. Luke, before I come to you, I'll just come into comments again. So Michael Pearson about 5 minutes ago, the attacking subs took the pressure off. They definitely did. Matt in the comments, the triple sub after the goal was a power move for me. Was very patient watching the game up until we scored. Then to see Dak, Gallagher and Brio come on was a sight to behold. Ryan Lambert, Gallagher made a great impact, gets a lot of unfounded stick from Rovers fans at times. Yeah, he does. He put in a great shift when he came on today, won a few headers and good direct running. And that's the stuff that helped to see that game out as well. The directness from Brereton and from Gallagher. Paul Smith, agree with Ollie, subbing cemented our position, plus Dak is good at main game management. And Paul also thinks that all three subs held the ball up well in that period, cooled the game down, but kept the threat. So Luke, going to come to you. You are one of the most positive Rovers fans, but this is Blackburn Rovers. We've had our fingers burnt so many times before when we've been 1-0 up or whatever, particularly away from home. We had some big chances to actually make that game 2 or 3-0, didn't we? We had a couple for Adam Armstrong, the one where he got through and goal and tried dinking it, and the other where he tried curling it in the top corner. And then also Barry Douglas hit one over, which I thought he should have done better with. So were you fearful that those chances might have come back to haunt us towards the end?
Yeah, you always are, aren't you? But we seem to be so much more comfortable, I think, from winning positions, and we spoke about it quite a lot. I think as soon as we scored the first goal, I did feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more settled. But it goes without saying, when you don't put games to bed, and as free scoring, and we have been in the past, we get a goal and we do that, we go and put games to bed. But Rovers teams of old have scored a goal and it has come back to bite later on when we don't put the game to bed. So particularly with the Armstrong chances, the second one, he didn't hit the target. I thought he should do a little bit better. And with his one-on-ones, he always seems to have a lot more success when he just, has a strike and hits the target rather than these cute dinks. It's a couple of times this season now where he's tried to be a little bit cute and it doesn't quite come off. And then again, I haven't scored 16 championship goals, so who am I to talk at the end of the day? It'll come. He does seem rather frustrated at times. I think he really wants the goal. He wants to be in amongst the goals. Tony Mowbray's quite sensible, especially with the transfer talk at the moment, in that he is a young lad still. Yes, he's scored 16 championship goals. Yes, it's phenomenal, but he needs to keep playing football and keep scoring goals at this level, I think. And I think he showed his maturity in our goal when, rather than trying something fancy and being selfish, he played that cute 1-2 with a hold-up play, which he's not really known for. And we got the goal. So, yes, we did, miss a few chances, but ultimately, we won the game through hard work and endeavour. I think it was the 94th minute that I noted down Lewis Travis absolutely sprinting and running himself into the ground. They were, and I saw that across the game, really. There were a point at the end of the first half as well when Barry Douglas, hands on his knees, he looked like he was blowing, and there were a lot of effort today. And I think, yes, sometimes you don't get that goal, but luck plays a part, but hard work and endeavour and good solid defensive performance allowed us to get away with a 1-0 win. So in the end, we've got to be happy, but it's always nervy being a Blackburn Rovers fan, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And Alex, even though those chances were missed, actually, if you actually think about the last 10 minutes and even the 6 minutes when they go up, as much as it put the fear of God into me, we actually raised it and looked pretty accomplished in that period. Mowbray says here, I don't like those games. I prefer to play a nice game of football. Felt like a war of attrition. Young players stood up to some men today and got the job done. And that's a good summary of the game and also the way we managed that game out, isn't it? I don't think we looked in any danger, really, going into that final game. And as much as I am a Blackburn Rovers fan, and as much as there were 6 minutes of stoppage time, I actually was feeling quite reasonable and comfortable.
I think Rovers have got issues this season and got issues as a team, but I think one of the issues we don't have is conceding late goals. I can't really remember it being that much of an issue under Mowbray, certainly in the last couple of years. I think when we scored the first goal, I think of our 10 wins this season, 9 of them have been when we scored first. So there's clearly a correlation between us getting the first goal and getting the win. And then as an extension of that, you must therefore say, well, we're not conceding loads of equalisers right at the end of the games. So to me, it never really seemed to be an issue. I didn't, that could come back and bite us all on the backside for the rest of this season. Now I've said that it's not an issue, but certainly I wasn't too panicky during injury time. I thought Kaminsky, wasted enough time as he should and managed to take a good 40 seconds on the goal kicks without looking like he was wasting too much time. So well done on that. But yeah, really, really impressed with how we managed the game. And you have to say, other than potentially the incident where they hit the post, I don't really think Middlesbrough had many chances at all in that second half. When you compare it to the chances that we've had and the chances that we've missed, I know that all of our chances kind of grouped together at the end of the match, but yeah, I really don't think that we were put under any sustained pressure or there was no real panic, as there has been, as there have been at times at Borough in previous seasons when there was a Simon Eastwood special. But yeah, I think under Mowbray, be if we were under Gary Boyle or, the swindler who sent us down for the Premiership, you expect us to concede a late goal. But I think under the current team and the current manager, I don't think it's been an issue. And where did the 6 minutes come from, Steve? I think nowadays refs add 3 or 4 minutes just automatically, and I think there was a couple of injuries in that game, so the 6 minutes didn't really surprise me in the end, and I'm just glad we saw them out and got the points.
That's right. Rovers fans, we're going to be ending the stream in about 5 or so minutes. I know some of you have asked questions whilst we've been live. The comments have been coming in thick and fast. So if there is a question you wanted to ask us, something completely different to the game and other things, just repost it and we'll pick it up before we go.
I think there was one from Hunter's Army earlier about, I think, when we put forward what people would like to see and asked about player ratings. It's probably worth saying that we do a written player ratings after every game, so just have a look out for that when it gets posted on the Twitter site.
Good plug there, Luke. Yeah, on the Rovers Chat website, absolutely look out for that. But we'll keep responding to what you all want on these post-match streams, and always good to mix things up. And then just on chances that Borough have, just to give him his credit, I thought Kaminsky made a really good save from Tavernier, actually, where he got down to his left-hand side and tipped it round his near post. I thought that was a good save from Kaminsky there. So, Ollie, just whilst we wait for potential questions to come in the last 5 minutes, this game was a football cliche from start to finish, wasn't it? You've got a team that are really strong at home versus a team that aren't in any great form. You've got the team who've rode their luck a bit that go on and then snatch the 1-0 victory. So, I want the third thing to come true now. Can this be the watershed moment for Blackburn Rovers in this season? Can we go on a little bit of a run now and use this game as that, right, that's the one where we stood up, like Mowbray's comments that are scrolling across the bottom now. this is where some of those younger players got it. They rose to the likes of Sam Morsey. They rose to the likes of Johnny Howson. Let's go and imprint ourselves on the Championship. So can you see Rovers going on a bit of a run with this result? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think Mowbry himself said, was it back end of last week? The week before last, that, he thinks we could have been 10 to 12 points better off having, he manages the team and watched us for half a season. And if him and the players had ambitions of thinking about the top six, I don't want to talk about the playoffs too much, but it's now or never. If they want it to be a springboard, it needs to be. You've got the opportunity there as a springboard. I think I don't want to mention the pitch, but we've got great opportunity to follow this up at home to Luton. We haven't beaten Luton since they've been promoted to the Championship, but we really should have beaten Luton by now, 3 times of trying. So we've got a 4th time to try and beat them. And I think after that, we've got, I think, was it QPR, Preston, Barnsley? These are opportunities to pick up a few more wins. And we know how quickly, a little bit of a bad run and you slip down into mid-table, but you string together 2, 3, 4 wins or 3 wins and a draw, and you'll shoot right back up into that conversation. And January historically has been quite a good month for us. It's been okay. It's not been a total disaster, but there is an opportunity now. We've got a good game coming up next, and I think if we can I'd like to think we can beat Luton at home and get 3 points, and then maybe we can really start to look at sort of really motoring on and picking up some more wins, and not trying to get carried away, but see where we go. I think haven't got too many injuries to, the injury position is probably better than it has been across this season, and so there's the opportunities there, I think.
Indeed, and Hunter's Army pointing out 5 unbeaten now. I'm assuming that's the league because of the Doncaster game. So yes, we will remember this comment, Hunters, definitely. And we've had some questions that have come in, which we'll just pick up before the end of the show, and then we will finish the stream. So Luke, I'll ask you the first one. So thank you, Paul, for asking again. Apologies, I missed it first time. How important will goal difference be for us this year, do you think, particularly with how tight this division is?
It's going to be important. There's no doubt. Hunter's Army means from now on. So let's hope we do.
I see. That makes sense.
It's going to be important. It's very interesting to see us. Obviously, we're sitting in 9th now, I think. I know we don't particularly want to be talking about the playoffs now. We've just beat Middlesbrough, but I presume that's what we're getting at here. And there's 2 teams that separate us now from ourselves and 6th, with 6 points, I think it is, in between. But you find us on, a goal difference of 12, and Bournemouth there on 17. We're down in, relative mid-table, yes, top half, but still, and we find ourselves on that goal difference. And as they were saying on Sky today, the league's top scorers, etc. Quite impressive how we've gone about our business, and we're not usually a goal scoring side, so that the early months when we were turning teams over 4 and 5-0 could be crucial come the end. Goals are always important, especially in a league like this. It is so tight. Who knows? Absolutely, who knows? But it's always good to have the goals there should it come down to it. It's a tight league, a very challenging league. So let's hope that if it does come to it, we're in a good position, of course.
Absolutely. Ollie James has asked a cracking question. Is Kaminsky the best keeper we've had since Friedel? So this is a quick yes or no, just because we're at the end. So Alex, yes or no?
Well, I'm too young to give you a since Friedel. I'm 21 in February, so that gives you an indication. So I can't remember Friedel very well. Since I've been supporting them, 100%. Although it's pretty slim pickings, I have to say, when you think of the keepers he's coming up against. I just dread to think, really. But yeah, easily the best.
Ollie, yes or no on that question?
Sadly, I am old enough. And Friedel's one of my all-time favourite players. And yeah, I think I said it probably bizarrely early into the season. I think I was thinking he is the best keeper we've had in quite a long time. I think, yeah, definitely for me.
Excellent. Luke?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Brad Friedel, you're talking about a complete percentile on its own. You know, he was a keeper that got into the PFA Team of the Year, phenomenal goalkeeper. And like Ollie said, an idol to most Blackburn Rovers fans. You could completely rely on him. And we've got that in Kaminsky now. We've got reliability, and you're not worried about conceding a shaky goal due to a, bless him, Christian Walton, for example. You know, completely reliable. Let's remember that he's now giving some confidence to the back four in front of him as well. So, like today was a good defensive performance, and it all comes from Kaminsky and breathing that confidence into a side.
Absolutely. And just to complete the set, and I am the most biased on this panel because everyone knows my love for Thomas Kaminsky. I think he's just a great all-round keeper, and that save from Tavernier as well shows that he's a shot stopper. You know, he's a great shot stopper, and I think that's what you'd be saying David Raya was when he was at Rovers. He made some unbelievable saves, but Kaminsky's got that in his locker as well. So I think the answer is yes, Ollie. So we'll finish the show with two other questions that we had. Simon Child, Alex, I'm going to ask you this one. Who will provide short-term cover for our centre-backs? Now, Johnson has what looks like a hamstring injury. So I think before today, it sounds like Mowbray is probably hanging around and seeing what's happening with 𝐿𝐴 and others like that. Do you think this might just force the issue a bit now?
Yes, I think it forces the issue with 𝐿𝐴. I think it also forces the issue with Magloire. I'm not sure of his status at the minute. I believe that he's come back from a loan spell. I might be wrong on that. So that might be an emergency. And if both of those players don't end up being around, then I think we'll have to chip together and head down to Ewood and see how we get on. I don't think it'd go too well. It'd be pretty embarrassing. But yeah, maybe that's the last resort. Stick Ryan at the back.
Have you seen how quick I am? I've got the turning circle of an Arctic lorry or something like that. So you don't want me at the back.
He'd soon pull a hamstring, true to form, if he tries running.
And then the final question that we've had before we finish, Ryan Lambert, do you chaps think we need to be consistent with our starting 11 to find some form or rotation? So Ollie, before I come to you, I'll just offer my 2 pence worth. I think the thing we've struggled with this season, Ryan, is that we haven't had a good spine of 5 to 6 players. So I think if we can get some consistency with Kaminsky, Branthwaite, Lenihan, Travis, Dack, Armstrong, your rotation probably comes on the players around them. Probably Nyambi and Douglas will end up staying where they are. But if you keep that spine like that, that's when you can rotate the likes of Brereton, Holtby, Rothwell, probably not Harvey Elliott. But if you just get that spine, it allows you to rotate and keep things fresh. So, excuse me, I think my answer to your question there, Ryan, is a bit of both. A good solid 5 or 6 that start every week with a rotation of players based on the game that you're playing. You know, like today, we've gone a bit more physical. Another game, we might have more ball players in that midfield area. So that's what I'd like to see. So, Ollie, I'll give you the final word on this one. You know, what's your thoughts on Ryan's question there?
Yeah, I think so. I think when we had some really good early season form, I think there were things that are very consistent. You know, you have to have Kaminsky in goal. You have to have Lenihan with a partner. I think now that Travis is back, and I think it's probably his best game today since he's been back and he's got through more minutes. For me, it probably is. It's Travis. I think you need Travis and you need Rothwell in that midfield 3, and then you need to find who. Then, like exactly as you say, I think there's options for who's the third, depending on the opposition. Do you go more defensive? Do you go more attacking with a Holtby, or can Dack start to work in those types of positions? And I've always thought you have to have Brereton left on that front 3. If the system works, it has to have Brereton on that left side, and it probably has to have Harvey Elliott on, given his assists and his all-round general play. But I think he's been tinkering a little bit, and it's not been helped by injuries, and he perhaps overthinking the opposition sometimes. But yeah, I think to me there are some very cemented positions that, I completely agree that spine, the keeper, those two centre backs, Travis. I think Rothwell always has to be in that midfield three, and Brereton and Armstrong and Elliott, and just go back to. That's what I was hoping for today. We've won the game, and so can't complain. But I was hoping just to, I didn't think Dak would start, and just go back to what's worked with all the players where they've worked at their best, and see what happens. And I think that, definitely need a bit more consistency. And I think with a lot of it has been driven by injuries, but I think now, Johnson's now potentially going to be out for 4-6 weeks, possibly if it is a hamstring. But we've got a better squad than we've had in earlier months in the season. So, I think so. Oh, and I was just going to say that last question on the centre back. I think Bennett's back in full training now, isn't he? So I think disaster scenario would be Nyambe comes inside, and I think you've got Benno's back. So that's the disaster scenario, I think.
Yeah, hadn't thought about that. That's a good option as well, Ollie. So before we finish then, I'll just do one final dip into the comments before we say our goodbye. So Ollie James, I played one game at centre-back at Ewood Park. True story. Very lucky there, Ollie. I've always wanted to do that on those things that you can pay to do. Alexander Haben, you sound like Ayala, Ryan. Hopefully not with his hamstring. I hope not. Hunter's Army, Davenport deserves more plaudits. Do you think he deserves a run of games? For one, I do. Yeah, I think Davenport is showing his worth to this team more and more. Not coincidental that he's played today and we've got a positive result, I'd suggest. So he definitely has to be in the reckoning. And then Eugene, we are finally getting the same back four and goalkeeper. This will massively help, and it showed today. And yeah, we've said on this show before that the teams that ultimately do go up and punch at the highest parts of this division do have that settled defence and goalkeeper. So hopefully we're past our early season woes now and can get some consistency. And then Alexander Haben with the final word in response to Ryan Lambert's question. I'd say, yes, Ryan, keep the starting 11 the same as far as possible, and we should hit good form and hopefully keep winning. We need momentum now. Ollie 5-4. So you've conceded five or four games at Ewood Park either way there, Ollie. So I hope you weren't at fault for all of those. Hey?
Doesn't bode well, does it, that?
No.
He's going to comment now that he got injured after 10 minutes and wasn't responsible for any of the goals.
He scored 4 off corners.
Well, we have outstayed our welcome by more than our allotted hour. So thank you to everyone who has stuck with us until the very bitter end. Always nicer when it is a victory that we're dissecting. And yeah, this one, even though it was only 1-0, felt like there was a lot to get under the skin of. So lots of good discussion and lots of good debate as usual. I think we're all in agreement that it was possibly a lucky victory today in many respects, with the decision that didn't go Middlesbrough's way in the first half and them hitting the posts from close range. But as I say, you have to ride your luck in this division at times. And when you are on a run like we've been, the old saying goes, you take anything off someone's backside or whatever, that is sometimes what ignites a run. In our case, we've worked a really lovely goal and Rothwell stuck it away and we win the game 1-0 and we're very worthy winners from that point. So we can all finish our Sundays in very good fashion. Or if you're Dizzy Thumbs, it's probably Monday where you are now. I don't know if you're with us, Dizzy. If you are in other pastures, then enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or whatever time it is. Have a good time. Ollie, thank you for joining us for your debut today. Good to have you on.
Thanks very much. Yeah, pleasure. Enjoyed it and a win. So
absolutely. That's right. Luke, good to have you on as ever.
Yeah, chuffed to be here. Chuffed to be, like Ollie says, chuffed to be part of a winning stream, and it's always nice to get one over on Colin as a Blackburn Rovers fan. So,
and Alex, we've survived our public flogging, I think, for publicly saying that Rovers were going to lose that game. So the crowds were gentle on us this evening, but thank you for joining me as well.
I was publicly flogged a long time ago. I don't think they can, throw any more storms at me than they already have. So yeah, really glad really glad about the win. Really pleased to be back on, and I just think it's been a productive weekend. Really looking at the other results that we've seen, a draw and then a win for Watford, who aren't really in our orbit. So yeah, some good results for us, and then hopefully now, fingers crossed, we can kick on going forward. But yeah, there's still a lot to do this season, isn't there?
Yeah, well summarised there. I'm going to get Dan off guard here, and I'm going to finish the stream in a different fashion before the advert. So after this stream, if you're going to go and look at Neil Warnock's comments after the game, or you catch the highlights again later, just keep one image at the forefront of your mind, and that is the image of a smirking Tony Mowbry peering through the gap there. Keep that one in your head. You can sleep easy tonight. Just keep that little chirpy image of Tony Mowbry. He's deserved that victory today, and always good when Warnock is not happy with the result. So that is the very good way to finish this stream. Thanks everyone for your company tonight. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rovers Chat. Please follow us on Twitter, Rovers_chat. And we will leave you with our sponsor message from 6𝐿𝐻𝑒𝐿𝑡ℎ.com. See you later.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6𝐿𝐻𝑒𝐿TH.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.